start our recording. So we are now recording. And again, thank you for joining me tonight. So I wanted to schedule just sort of a quick kind of touch base to talk a little bit about a few areas. One, in terms of looking backwards, I like to sort of think about, where we've been. We're just about dead spot on the mid-semester break, if you will, or break. I shouldn't say we don't have a break per se, but mid-semester point, really kind of projecting forward in terms of where are we going. Remembering that this course is really big picture type stuff. For those of you who completed the 1 minute paper, thank you very much. I appreciate the feedback and the great questions, things that people want to delve into. Some of this we're going to stay broad, and we're going to do that sort of bird's eye view, and that's where your assignments come into play, where you can really pick a topic and sort of dive a little bit deeper in. I've talked with some of you about your upcoming VoiceThread assignment, your issue trend assignment, and it's really an opportunity for you to select something you are interested in or passionate about or want to know more about and do a deeper dive. So think about the assignment in that capacity, because this course is really, I'm not going to give you specific strategies to achieve one goal. I'm going to give you sort of a way to think about what you want to achieve and how you can go about finding good resources to support good teaching and learning practice. So I just I like to sort of give that, mid-spot check-in to really sort of remind folks of that piece. And again, like any other time, stop me or raise a hand or just interject if you have questions, you have comments, or I'm moving too fast or too slow, for that matter, I guess could be the case as well. So anyway, so tonight I just want to tell you a little bit about the economics of education, just to sort of be mindful of Darlene Hammond's work and her deeply the roots in equity pedagogy. Again, the 1 minute paper sort of view as well, and then to kind of get in a little deeper into the assignment and to be thinking about, so again, the summation piece, and then just give you some tips and tricks, I guess you could call them. I don't know if they're tricks, but just where I've seen people be most successful in this assignment. Okay, there's a few things I want you to be thinking about when you do the assignment, so that you don't get an email from me saying, please will you redo this. I want you to know that I always give people an opportunity to resubmit something. I talked about that in the first meeting. If you don't really hit the mark, and I think it's noted on the rubric that I will send it back to you to redo. So I like to kind of talk about a few things, because on the flip side of that, don't overwhelm yourself with this assignment thinking it's bigger than it is. Okay. So there's sort of a juxtapost of ways to think about it. So I want to make sure people don't overwhelm themselves and get totally stressed out about it. All of you don't seem to have any issues with using VoiceThread. So, it seems like a very usable tool. There's a lot of resources that we provide to support students in that. But if you feel stressors of using it as a presentation tool, for sure, shoot me an email or reach out to our help desk. So I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about that. And again, I'm going to be mindful of our time, because I know that you're all very busy working professionals. And I apologize, my voice is always raspy about 3 times a year, and fall is one of them, just because we haven't in here in Minnesota got that hard freeze that those of us with seasonal allergies hope for, although I'm not looking forward to the cold weather, but I tend to do better when it's not wet and damp and molds all over. So anyway, with that, what I'm going to do before we get sort of really launch into this is there's a lot of value in talking to your colleagues about your work, okay? And we really try to provide those opportunities for people. And tonight we're going to have one. And I'm going to split you up just randomly into small groups, and I'll make sure to be mindful of the time, and make sure that everybody has an opportunity to share your topic. Okay, so give your group members the topic of what you're going to be doing your assignment on. Make sure everybody has time. I'll put you in small enough groups so that we have time. And share any questions, bounce questions or ideas off of each other. You're all very important resources and experts in a lot of these areas. You might have a colleague that is an expert or deeply rooted in your topic, and you may not have even known that. So let's use each other as resources, but if you have questions about the assignment, and then I'm going to bring it back as a large group and kind of report out, any general questions that might have come out, just to set the stage a little bit for us to go a little bit deeper into the assignment when I talk about that in general. Does that make sense for folks? Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and break you into groups. Let's see. So I'm going to do, we'll do 3 breakout rooms, and there'll be an odd number, but that's okay. Okay.
I'm going to add that.
I don't know that I'll be able to stay the whole. Oops, sorry.
You go ahead, Melissa.
I was going to say my kids are sick downstairs, so I might leave at any time.
Oh no!
So
okay, I hear you. I've had a sick son for the last couple of weeks, so I hear you. Okay, well, we'll break out into groups, and if you end up by yourself, let me know. Okay. Let's see. just a little bit more time I'll give them, and then we're gonna bring everybody back in. Well, one thing too is, as you think about your topic, Anne, you could think about what you think the cause of the increase is. A lot of people think it's media. That's very specific, or is it trauma? What I mean, I get a lot of students that do things on trauma, and its effects or impact, the ACEs study and that whole piece. So anyhow, something to think about.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I think I closed all 30 seconds. Gives me a nice little timer. Meg, do you have to wait for the timer to stop?
No, Joanna and I were talking, and the message came up, and I was mid-sentence, and I pushed the button. Sorry, Joanna. So everybody could come back right then, but they do have up to a minute, and then it'll automatically bring them back.
Okay. It's kind of what I thought, but I wasn't sure. So, yeah. Because it looks like everybody's back now. Yeah. Okay. All right, great. Okay, so I'm gonna ask folks to if they would just hear a little bit from each group. If I could, I'm kind of stopping the large share right now because I want to rearrange my screen a little bit. But yeah, so does somebody want to volunteer to go first, or just from the group in terms of your group, what you learned? What did you learn from sharing your topic with another cohort member, and what questions came up that you think might be relevant?
I can talk for us. But first, everybody, if you want to look at everybody at the same time instead of just mainly me, move your mouse, and in the upper right corner, it'll say speaker view or gallery view, and you can click on it and you'll switch your view. Just so you know. Okay, so I was with Johanna and Melissa, and Melissa's topic is going to be mental health in schools. She's run into a few struggles personally in her classroom last year, and they have some resources, but she wants to kind of put together a variety of things that she can do in the classroom. I thought that was a great idea. Johanna's is about the inequities in public schools financially. We talked about that might be a huge project, and maybe look at some like an area or her area or something like that, but we didn't know. Mine was going to be schools to prison pipeline. I want to look probably at a very specific area, do a lot with the numbers of the cost to educate versus the cost to imprison, and losing those people from the tax rolls and things like that. And are there places that have found effective ways to deal with this?
Well, thank you, Meg, for speaking for your group and for sharing great topics. Another group just want to throw out just topics or any questions that came out? What are some other groups thinking in terms of topics?
I can speak up for our group. One of the big questions that came up from Annalise was finding articles. So how do you use Scholastica's library resources to find articles? And so I did my undergrad here, so I had a little bit of familiarity, and that's how she knew to ask. And if you don't mind, Amy, I'll just walk people through it pretty just just briefly, as quickly as I can, because I know we don't have much time, but I'm going to share my screen. So I'm logged into Core, and I'm on the student tab right here. And on the left side, there's this search with links. And library should be one of them, and you can click on that. It'll pop up the page for the Scholastica Library. And then I usually find my articles through Solar. That's just a big database of lots of journals and things like that. So if you open that, it'll give you the option to search. You can search by keyword or, title and author, but probably keyword. So maybe whatever your topic is. And then I searched Courtney's topic, which is universal preschool for all, and the effect of that on later education and political implications, economic implications. But I had changed, it was 18 something in the side was the earliest publication date, so wanted something a little more recent as a parameter. And you can change any of these on the side. And hopefully you'll find something relevant, make it an advanced search, or however works best for you. One thing to note, that sometimes articles are via interlibrary loan or request. You have to place a request, and then whatever library that journal comes from in the Minnesota area that we have agreements with has to send it over. So that takes some time. So just something to be aware of and to watch out for, know it's coming, and plan ahead for. Annalise's topic was arts education and the impact of arts education on other topics, studies of other topics. And I think she mentioned, well-being and those types of things, because she's in a school where they don't have it, but she grew up in a school where they did have it. So a little bit of compare contrast background there. And then my topic's kind of a big one, but technical literacy and how do you increase that effectively? How do you make people more comfortable with technology, as comfortable as they want to be, but be able to have enough of a level of knowledge to explore new things and navigate without anxiety this world that we live in surrounded by technology. So.
Cool. Good. Thank you for doing the quick library search. I also would say I use Google Scholar a lot, so that's a really good one too. And it's all pretty much scholarly articles. And I did mention to Greta's group when I jumped in there quickly, Julie Rusted is our distance ed librarian. She is fantastic, and she can help you with just about anything. I email her all the time. I give her a topic. I'm looking for articles on this, and she'll send me, all of a sudden my inbox is exploding with articles that Julie, but she's fantastic. So if you find yourself struggling, with credible sources, send her an email because she's really helpful. But Google Scholar is a really good one as well. Okay, how about, let's see, TJ, do you want to just quickly share what you and, let's see, were you with Anne?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she had to leave, but.
We talked about, we're both kind of still in the early stages of picking our topics, and I don't think Anne had quite settled on her exact topic yet.
Yep.
My idea I was thinking about doing was related to social emotional competencies. And so that's kind of like a topic that we are discussing this school year, and my principal has that's kind of our where we're going with that. She has this idea that we have a very diverse school where we have a lot of kids that come from wealth, but then we also have a lot of students in poverty, and we see a mix of students of wealth not being successful but also being successful, and then same aspect with poverty, and then talking about how can we kind of help all of these students and really helping them with their social and emotional skills in school, and trying to build a community where students really feel a part of the school that they're in, and they actually have a voice and opinion for their education. So I kind of wanted to explore that more because that seems like a pretty interesting topic.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, that sounds great. Really good. No, it sounds like really, really good topics. Thank you all for sharing. I'm going to so I'm just gonna share my screen again in terms of the assignment, and talk a little bit about sort of ways to find success, if you will. And the biggest thing, and this I guarantee you is not going to be the first time you're going to hear this, because when you start getting into your research courses and other focus, so narrow is, I can't probably say that enough, because a lot of topics are big. And remember, you only have like 5 minutes to present, 5 to 7 minutes. I have had 25-minute voice threads submitted, and I will send those right back to you. I appreciate the work that you do, but you really need to. So this is an exercise, not just in taking a deep dive, but also really understanding how to refine good information and putting it out there, okay? So it isn't an exercise in showing me how much you know about something for 25, 30 minutes. And I don't say that to be rude, but I say it because it's happened. And I don't want you to spend that kind of time on something that I'm just going to give back to you to redo. Okay, so you really want to focus on, and all these topics are fantastic and they all fit, within the context of the assignment. But I'm going to grab, let's say, mental health, for example. I'm just going to use that as an example, not because it's a favorite or I don't like it. It's one that gets used a lot. But if that's going to be your topic, then you really want to narrow. So what I mean by focused and narrow is, what about mental health and teaching and learning? So is it mental health with elementary school students? Is it with middle school, or an increase in mental health services in our public school setting? So don't just pick a term and then think you're going to build a presentation around that, okay? So be very specific, and this is why you're going through that summation, and I'm reading through those and giving feedback as well, on your summation assignments. So just remember, as you're doing, the assignment, that you're not going down a rabbit hole that starts, which can happen in research. I'm guilty of it when I start reading or working on something. Pretty soon I've got 10 tabs open and I'm reading a whole bunch of things. It's just the nature of the beast. So I just want to really, really remind you to really focus. Follow the layout of the scoring checklist. It's also in the syllabus. And so when I say layout, so if you look on page 7 of your syllabus, you're going to have, audience. Who are you presenting to? And I give you some examples. Is it a school board? Is it a policy making? Is it your administration? Is it the PTA? Is it your administration? What you decide on what that is. So you want to make sure you're presenting, to the people who are invested in this topic, and then what is the significance of this issue or trend? Okay, that's a slide. Significance, right? Okay, then, and I'm just following verbatim what's in the syllabus, and this is exactly what's in the scoring checklist as well. Impact. So, that might be a couple slides. What is the impact of this topic of mental health in the high school grades on teaching and learning? Okay. And then what implications does it have for teachers and or students? So what are we seeing? So again, you're not writing a exhaustive research paper. You're giving a nice sort of focused presentation on a very specific topic of your choice, okay? So you want to make sure that, challenges are outlined. So what challenges does this present to, families, communities, leaders, students? Those are all examples. You don't have to hit every single one. Okay, does that make sense? You don't have to, outline all of those people, but it may have, mental health has a significant impact on families and also school leaders, because we need resources, for example. So a significant challenge is that we lack resources to meet the needs of students struggling. For example, my school has one counselor for 300 kids. Okay, that's a significant challenge, right? And again, I like to remind people of the time limits, that you're really thinking about, staying within the parameters of the time. I mean, if you go, a couple minutes over, I'm not going to send it back to you, but I have had, 30-minute type deals, and you really, remember, this is about really digging deep into something, but also an exercise in refining your research and presentation skills. And not too far down the line, when you are at the end of this program, you're going to be doing something very similar, but in person, presenting on your research. And you're going to get 12 minutes with 3 minutes of Q&A at the end to share your research. What's your question? What was your, research methods? What were your findings? And what are you, so it's, that may seem like forever away, and I completely understand that, but it's really good to try to get yourself to really sort of encompass a topic, get some good resources, say, what you want to say about it, and then, yeah. Does that make sense to people, or am I sounding like crazy? It's hard to do. I'm not gonna kid you. So practice, okay? Give it a run through, so you don't have a lot of, either dead space in terms of time. Try not to, and I don't, this is good practice, I don't necessarily grade you on this, but don't just read your slides, okay? Then so don't just, list several things on there and read them verbatim, because I can do that, and so can the rest of the the colleagues in the class. Make sure you're providing narrative. It's good to have bulleted points, right? You got some things that are, here's some challenges, and then wrap it with some narrative. That's how you want to spend the time presenting, is wrapping your points with narrative. So you're providing that further explanation when you're presenting. I think all of us could honestly say we've sat in a presentation and somebody has stood at the podium and they've read their PowerPoint slides. Don't do that. Okay, don't do that. Sometimes there's a reason to be doing that, perhaps. I don't know that I've come into one. I'm trying to be fair for those that do that, but for this particular, don't just put text on the slide and then read it. Okay. I also want you to be thinking about, how not just, your audience, and then, the parameter or the sort of bulleted points that I give you in the syllabus to follow, but really put your professional touch on it. Okay. Use your teacher or leader or whatever voice, because the best presentations are ones that sound like this person is talking about something they're passionate about. Okay, does that make sense? That's why this is self-driven. I didn't pick the topic. I'm not giving you all, here's 3 things to go research, write about, and talk about. This is something I want to hear some, enthusiasm or passion, rather than just, reading verbatim. So try to be your natural self in this. It's hard to do, and this is could be for many of you your first time presenting, using VoiceThread, and so I fully understand that, and I'm very, very accepting of that. I don't expect obviously perfection, but make sure you're hitting all the points in that scoring checklist, and you'll do just fine. I know it, because the work that you're putting out at this point is just really, really high quality. So I'm not, and I know it's sort of a stereotype, but teachers, we like to show a lot of evidence of things that we're talking about or that we're interested in, and so it's going to be hard maybe for some people to try to focus and really narrow, but you'll find yourself having a much better product if you can do that. And talking for 5 to 7 minutes is a pretty fair amount of time to talk about something. So you'll be moving through, your slides. But practice, reach out to me if you have questions, if you're feeling anxious or, stressed about it, or you're feeling for sure if you need more time. I've said from day one, just like I've asked or noted, I said, I'm almost done, reading the interviews, just get, sick, life happens, kids get sick, jobs, whatever happens. So I really try to have that reciprocal happening here. So if you need more time, or you feel like you want to talk through your topic, your presentation, send me an email. Totally, open to that. Okay. So hopefully that makes, here's Snoopy again in Woodstock. Hopefully that makes sense, and it helps frame for you a little more, kind of what I'm looking for, if you will, or kind of how you want to, be presenting your topic. How are we doing on time? I just want to make sure. We have a couple minutes left. What questions are you left with? What thoughts do you have? Anxieties you want to stressors about this, or are you feeling good about it? The topics I'm reading are great, so I don't, and what I've heard tonight is good, but any questions?
How fancy do you want these slides? Are you just wanting it to be the points? Do you want pictures on there? What are you looking for on that actual slides?
So that's a really good question. So I don't assess you for, the beauty of your slides, for lack of better terminology. Let them be a reflection of you, whatever your style is. If you want pictures, if you want people use pictures, charts, graphs, bulleted points with some imagery on the side, let that be you. I don't want to dictate that, because I know some people are really creative and they really love making their slides, as gorgeous as they can be, and some that's not where they want to put their time in, and they want the basic bullets and then they narrate through. So I'm gonna leave that to each individual person, because I don't have that included on the scoring rubric. But that's a great question. Thank you for that. Other questions?
I have one. Courtney, what's your topic?
Universal preschool.
Oh, nice. Thanks.
Great. You could have a whole bunch of kiddos on every slide. Other questions, or how are we doing? Everybody hanging in there? You're about midway through your first semester of grad school, taking double courses. A lot of you are taking 2 courses and working. It's a lot. So be gentle on yourself and make sure you're finding that balance between, work, school, life. The sisters remind us a lot at the college that it's really important to find that balance. So I'm not good at it myself, but I try. So any other questions, or?
Can I ask a Twitter question?
Sure. Yep.
So-
we can have Twitter.
So you want us to like post weekly, and you wanted us to follow a certain number of people
Yep.
or organizations.
Yep. People, professional organizations, author, yep.
Okay. I just wonder, am I doing okay? No, I mean, is it, I feel like I'm not quite sure how much is what we're supposed to do.
Okay, that's a good question. So it is quantified on the rubric how many tweets you should be doing. So I try not to dictate how many you do each week. You want to kind of spread it out. I also, if you've noticed in this lesson, I didn't give you a directive, and I think I didn't give you a directive, topic to tweet about. A lot of activity is still going on, on our hashtag related to, things that were, relevant to the course. But if you check that scoring checklist, it'll give you the quantity of, and so kind of gauge for yourself. Some people go way over. I've had students in the past do nothing on Twitter. Don't do that to yourself, because you lose the points and it just doesn't make good sense. It's okay to not like using Twitter, and it's okay to be totally done at the end of the semester, but it's an opportunity to give it a fair chance as a professional development tool. That's really what our purpose is for this course. And a lot of people stick with it. They're still using it. I have alumni, I have students that are, they'll tweet out where, so it's, I use it, and I use it as a professional tool and a networking tool, but yeah. So keep, in that sense, sort of keep track of. And I think I don't know if I posted an announcement. I'm sorry, we're going a little bit over, but TweetDeck is a really good resource for you to look. You can just put your name in there and it'll show up every single Twitter feed you've put out there. It's also a way for you to type in that hashtag. I'm just gonna, and then you can see everything that's been posted on our Current Issues 19 hashtag, which is kind of cool. And that's how I go in and allot you points. As I pull up TweetDeck, I put your username in, and your whole activity comes up. So that's a good way too, Meg, for you to check your, for you to check your activity. TweetDeck will just pull up your account and you can see exactly what you've been doing.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, for sure. Any other questions? Okay. Well, with that, I'm going to close for this evening. Thank you very much. And please, please, please reach out to me if you have questions about that, the upcoming assignment, or your topic, or anything else course related. I really, really want to, be that resource for you. And so, all right, have a great rest of your week. Be good to yourselves, and we will see you in Blackboard.
Thanks, Amy.
Yep. Have a good night, all.
Bye, everyone.